evening. My name is Allison Embry. I'm the new Executive Director of the Labor Guild. This is the second time I've addressed a CGA dinner. The first was in 1988 when I was president, and I was 12 years old at that time. We're here tonight to do to present the Labor Attorney Award to Ken Grace, Esquire of Sanduli and Grace. The 2012 Legal Counsel Award is presented to a true advocate who epitomizes devotion to the labor movement and workplace justice. Ken Grace represents unions from the Berkshires to the Cape.
Closer to the mic. Just put it into your
Okay. Ken Grace represents unions from the Berkshires to the Cape, including police, firefighters, and public safety workers. As his wonderful wife, Peggy, can attest, whenever the call came, Ken traveled the state's highways and back roads to wherever clients needed him, day or night. A 1973 graduate of Cornell's great ILR school, Ken earned a master's in labor studies at UMass Amherst in 1975. His classmate at that time was a young Jesuit named Ed Boyle. Joining AFSCME's Council 93 as a business agent and a regional organizer on the North Shore, Ken negotiated for and serviced 50 bargaining units. Working full-time, he attended New England's law school's nights and graduated magna cum laude. In 1982, he became Attorney Joseph Sanduli's first associate and his partner in 1985. Today, Sanduli Grace's 12 attorneys represent unions exclusively. As managing partner, Ken's ability to hire, manage, coach attorneys, staff, and law interns help power Sanduli Grace's growth. For Joe and their team, Ken's first-rate legal skills are a given. What they marvel at are his superb people skills, and that make a hectic law office feel like family. The great Jim Costello, in his 23 years with the Massachusetts Joint Labor Management Committee, observed Ken at the bargaining table many times. Ken Grace is simply the best of the best, Jim notes. He achieves more for his people on a consistent basis than any labor attorney I know. Sanduli and Grace's major clients include the Massachusetts Coalition of Police, the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association, the Massachusetts Teachers Association, and the Boston EMTs. Disability retirement is one of Ken's strong interests. These are very physical and stressful professions, Ken notes. Police and EMTs suffer so many injuries just doing the work. Finding justice and fair quality treatment for an injured or disabled client is very meaningful. The intense support that police and firefighters offer each other was extended to Ken during his recent illness. One day, you realize that web of client relationships has become long-standing friendships, Ken said. Since 1982, hundreds of Guild students have enjoyed and benefited from Ken's popular and meticulously and always updated snapshot of labor relations courses. As Joe Sanduli once put it, Ken inspires and energizes us all. Ken, seeing you join the ranks of CGA honorees is such a joy. Ken Grace.
Good evening. Bishop Dorr, distinguished guests, friends, and family. First, thank you, Allison, for those very kind words of introduction. I was listening to him over the description, and I'm thinking, hey, I'd really like to meet that guy. Seriously, I would also like to thank the selection committee for choosing me to receive this award. It is such an honor to be recognized out of so many worthy labor union attorneys in this area. My interest in labor unions goes back to when I was growing up in Athol, Massachusetts, where there were two major manufacturing plants, which employed a very high percentage of people in the town. One was unionized, and the president of the other was vehemently anti-union. As a high school kid, it seemed pretty simple. The union gave the workers a necessary collective voice over their workplace. Yet in Athol, the non-union employer always stayed one step ahead of the union shop in wages and benefits, and no doubt as an effective method of union avoidance. And it was the non-union shop that survived to this day. So this whole labor management dynamic led me down the path to study labor relations at Cornell and then at the University of Massachusetts Labor Center, and later to work as a union organizer and business agent. It was at UMass that I first met Father Boyle, back in the early 1970s when we were graduate students there together. Father Boyle was a good friend to me, and I'm sure he was to many of you out there. He married my wife, and he baptized our sons, and he remained a close friend of our family for the rest of his life. I know we all miss him, particularly on a night like this. Some of you may know that Father Boyle was a pretty good athlete. At UMass, we put together an intramural basketball team made up of labor students, and we called ourselves the Wobblies. Of course, this was the name of the industrial workers of the world back at the turn of the last century. But it pretty much described our basketball style as well. It was through Father Boyle and also Father Mort Gavin that I was given the opportunity in 1982 to teach at the Labor Guild. They explained to me that the students were mostly labor union people who worked all day and then made their way through the Boston traffic to Harrison Avenue at night for 3 more hours of labor education on 9 successive Mondays. My first thought was, how in the world was I going to keep these people awake, much less teach them something? But I soon learned there was no cause for concern. The students came to the program extremely motivated and willing to share their own unique work experiences and problems. For 30 years, they have energized me. And I love teaching at the Guild because of their personal commitments for those 9 Monday evenings each year. For any Guild students out there in the audience, I want to sincerely thank you for your inspiration. It was also 30 years ago when I joined Joe Sandulli to build a union-side law firm. Joe had the good sense to hire me. We now have 12 lawyers who have exceptional problem-solving skills. Any management person or arbitrator who has dealt with the members of my firm can attest to their professionalism. More importantly, though, they are very good people. We work together not only to create a proper balance between work and family, but to help each other in times of personal need. We have enjoyed the same sense of family with our clients as well. Over the summer, I had a difficult medical problem, and has since resolved. The support from our clients was overwhelming. For example, the president of the Boston EMS Union, Jamie Orsino, offered their ambulance services to drive me to medical appointments. I didn't need that help, but I really liked that idea. I received numerous cards and good wishes from Boston police officers and EMTs, and particularly from members of the Massachusetts Coalition of Police and locals like Peabody, Brookline, and Weymouth. The president of MassCop, Hugh Cameron, would call me periodically just to see how I was feeling, without bringing up any business whatsoever. Tom Dreschner, he's one of the other attorneys with the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association. He even offered to rake my leaves. I didn't ask him for his hourly rate. All of this support meant so much to me, and I feel very fortunate and blessed that our firm is included in the families of our clients. Lastly, permit me to briefly mention a number of my own family members. I want to thank my brothers Steve, John, and Don, and my niece Whitney for coming across the country to see me tonight. I also want to recognize the love and support I have from my two sons, Mike and Matt, and my wife Peggy. My boys are true gentlemen, and in my book, that says a lot. Peggy is the love of my life, and simply is the best. In closing, I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening catching up with old friends and maybe making new ones. And I want to thank you for your support of the Labor Guild. The Guild is the longest active continuing labor education program in New England. If you have not already done so, I encourage you to become a member of the Guild and take a more active part in this important labor management community. Thank you.